Welcome to another Lounge Lyme. I'm Coleen Douglas, your host. With us today, we have two good men, I'm going to call them Mr. Dean Fraser and Mr. Rorey Baker, both very close associates of Sly Dunbar, who we'll be talking about today. Sly, as you know, was more than a drummer. He was an architect of sound, a builder of rhythms, and for most of us, at least all of us in here, just a wonderful human being and friend. Welcome, Dean,
Greetings,
saxophonist extraordinary, ordinaire,
greetings. Thanks for
and
having
Mr.
me.
Give thanks, Dean. And Mr. Rory, because he calls me Mr. Douglas, which he will not do in this setting. Mr. One Pop, also of Taxi Records. Welcome to Lounge Lime on Reggae Online.
Greetings. Good to be here.
Lessons. It's interesting that sometimes we don't give people what they're due until they travel on. Um, I don't think it's the case for Sly. I think in the way that when you pick up the phone and you call Sly, he answers with a chuckle. The great Coleen Douglas.
Right.
Wagman, the great Dean Fraser.
That's so true.
That's how he gives you that. He gives everybody greatness, and I think he knows that we all valued him dearly. So I am personally happy that while he was alive, I would say it every day. Want best drummer in the world, and he'd be laugh Colleen, easy. So I just want to talk about Sly, not the drummer right now, but Sly the man. I'm gonna start with you, Dean. Since we know each other a long time, I don't want nobody know all you be. But when tell me when the connection with Sly started for you.
Well, I met Sly maybe 1970, 73, 74, some around there. And at the time, we were both very young musicians, just starting out. And those days, we had a lot of live music, live bands. So every club in Jamaica at that time had a live band, and Sly would be at Tit for Tat Stables, one of the both, and
Mhm.
he had this unique way of setting up his drum set. So the drum set always looked like it was gonna fall over on him, and so it drew a crowd. Everybody wanted to know why did this drummer set his drum set up and then sat on this low stool, because traditionally it has always been the other way around, right? All drummers would set their drum set and then sit on a stool where they are above the drum set. With Sly, it was totally different. He was below the drum set.
Mm.
So my drummer at the time used to take me to the club because, of course, I was very young and, was kind of shy of going into clubs by myself. And we would just go there and, watch Sly until one night I said hi and everything. And, we became just mutual brethren. But then a few years later, I decided that I wanted to go into the studios myself. And I went down to Joe Gibbs Studios on retirement, and Sly was there, the normal Sly, but at this time he had already played Here I Am Baby and was on his way, as a
Mhm.
superstar. So I came and I was trying to get into the studios to play as want play on, man, want play on from people tune. But the chance looked far fetched, you know. But guess what? Every day Sly would say to the producer down there, Errol Thompson, the late Errol Thompson, Sly would say, so make Dean play. And Errol said, no man, him not ready yet, man. You know, see my young boy and thing. And Sly said, look here, you need to make that little boy a play. cause him know where him a do. And Sly, every day Sly would just repeat it until finally one day them just allow me to play. And I, of course, make use of my little opportunity and make sure that when my foot go in, the door no lock on it. It lock behind me. So,
Yes.
Sly, and from that day now, Sly really, just like him take me on them wings, him just keep on and say, come man. So me and Nambo, became just very, very, very close to Sly Dunbar. So, and then Sly would take me to Dynamic Sounds where I met Jeffrey Chong and thing. And then Jeffrey Chong now would just invite me to come to the studios. And I ended up playing on Sly's album, Sly Slick and Wicked. That and that everything started there. And with the inclusion of Jeffrey Chung, of course Jeffrey Chung showed me how to produce, because that's what he was doing. And so this is where all of this work came to the fore, and I started to understand what was happening. So
Okay.
that was my first, you know that was my
Before we give thanks in, before we go any further, I just wanted you name a lot of people, and I wanted as a Reggae Online drop or
yeah,
educational moment in this time is to say to you, all of our viewers, that Joe Gibbs, born Joel Arthur Gibson, is one of the
yes,
pivotal figures in Jamaican music industry, reggae, rocksteady, dub, dancehall genres. They say his innovative approach to music production and his partnership with engineer Errol
Earl
Thompson,
Thompson,
known as the
yes,
Mighty Two,
yes,
produced numerous number one hits and groundbreaking innovations. Um, and he nurtured talents like Dennis Brown, Culture, Althea, and Donna. And you hear Dean talking about him. So we just wanted to share that little drop about one of the names that he dropped. We'll share. You just mentioned somebody else, and as we continue, we'll give our viewers an opportunity to just go and investigate some of these longtime producers who've passed on that you've shared. But yes, we're talking about Sly Dunbar. If you're just joining us, welcome to Reggae Online. Welcome to the Lounge Lyme. I'm Coleen Douglas, your host. On your screen, you will see another man who popped in, who we introduced earlier on. I'm playing with the pop because he's One Pop Music and Taxi Records, Mr. Rorey Baker. Rory, tell me about your first interactions with Sly.
I think we're getting some bad signal. I'm being disrupted. I can't hear most of what you're asking. It's,
Oh, you still can't hear me. Are you hearing me now?
I'm hearing you now, but it's going. Yes.
It's going in and out. In Jamaica,
Repeat the question.
we're having unusually strong winds,
yes.
um, almost like hurricane force winds that we're having, and so it's disrupting our flow. But I'm hoping Rory is hearing me and will just share with us about how he met Sly. I'm also dropping it
Oh,
in the
well,
chat to be sure.
it was 1995. I just started the University of Technology, and I have a friend who's a family friend, Handel Tucker. So Handel would always visit my family and always be saying, I'm a musician because I like to make my own sound system and stuff. So he took me one day to the mixing lab to introduce me to what it is like to make music. And I saw a person, I won't say it's Sly, I didn't want to use it yet, but I saw this gentleman sitting around a weird looking machine, and he was playing and nodding his head, and the lights were winking and the sound was just amazing. So I stood there and I looked at it and I wonder what is happening here. After that day, I keep bothering Andel to take me back to the mixing lab. However, it never happened. For anybody who know, Andel Tucker is very elusive. One minute he's here, the next minute he's in Germany. So um, there's a, I want to say, an uncle. He's more You know, we grow up, we call everybody uncle. So when your mother and your father have friends, we call everybody uncle and auntie. So this is particular another family friend who's on the boy Martin, who I grew up calling him uncle. And I discovered that he worked at the mixing lab. So he invited me there, took me to Sly, and said, Sly, this is my nephew. He wants to learn engineering. And the relationship just started to build from there. I've been with them since, around him and Robbie, from then until present. So that's my introduction to it.
All right, give thanks. Dean, the next question I wanted to ask both of you was really Sly's own professionalism and work ethic, because both of you are sort of, you've worked with him. But and you mentioned how he got you on stage in terms of creating an opportunity. Was that Sly generally as an individual, or was that just because he rated you as a performer?
No, man. The thing about Sly, you know, is that he had this way of just looking at you, listening to you, see your work level, and just say, this man good, or this man have something for offer, this man have something unique, this man, him just pick you out. You understand me? Him just pick you out of a crowd, right? So he had that. You understand me? He had that. So I I remember that, Sly would just him create a rhythm, and him would just say to me, say, watch you know the great Dean Fraser. Right now, me just want you put on a sax on that, and just give me the groove on it same way, cause he was a lot into groove. So I remember one particular song after a long session, which we played a lot of hit songs. I was going through the gate at Channel One, and him say, Dean, come back, man. And when me go back, him play a song for me named The Taxi, which I played one saxophone phrase, one take, just one groove, and that has been the famous Taxi rhythm ever since. You understand me? But Sly had all him was like a magician. Him could just pick you out of a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
and and he would just you and him would just start put naked together and create something.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you mentioned Taxi at this stage, which is, I mean, everybody know Taxi Gang, but in my early days in radio as well, when I was at RJR 94 FM, I used to produce a show on Sundays called Palav with Jerry
Right.
McDaniel.
I know it
And
well, yeah.
Sly and Robbie were to come to studio. Of course, Robbie not sure yet, In 3 hours and show, we still a look for Robbie. Robbie sit down in the lobby. Him not say nothing to anybody, and he just not coming in. But Sly came in the studio, and what I really over the years came to know about Sly was what you said, the great Dean Fraser. Sly appreciated what we were doing, what I was doing as a producer. Sly stayed for the whole show because he was so fascinated with what was happening with us at the boards, playing the ads. He thought that that was genius. And I thought to myself, Sly Dunbar, I think this is genius. I think you're a genius, because we actually had the taxi as an intro to a segment. And then
Yeah.
Sly would just call sometime and say, Coleen, you in the studio today, you down there today, may go pass through, man, because he likes radio. So
Yeah.
so it's interesting in the way that he saw greatness in everybody. Give thanks for that reminder. I'm seeing Lloyd, want you turn your phone the other way. Lloyd
Turn it
Parks,
sideways, lady.
we the people, one of our people, the great, as we talk about great, has
Are
just
you
joined
hearing me?
us.
Are,
Are
are
you
you
hearing
hearing
me,
me?
Lloydie?
I'm
Yes, we
hearing
are.
you.
And
Yeah, we're
Good.
hearing you.
yes, I'm hearing you. All right, give thanks. So Lloyd, we before I go back over to Rorey, I kind of want to go back. How long you know Sly, and when did you just meet him?
Maybe about 55 years ago. You know, Sly was about like 14 years old. I was about like 17 years old. So it's a long time. So it's from youth days, you know, from teenager, youth days. Very long time.
Yeah. What was Sly like as a youth though? Was he? Did you both of you meet in music? What was that kind of early hustle like for both of you? 14 and 17. What were you doing in music?
We both have musical intention, like music, and we used to, you know, but I want to be like Motown drummer. And I always say, why I want to be like Lynn Tate, you know, because Lynn Tate was a godfather for rocksteady music, you know. I transformed, you know, ska into, slow down the ska into reggae, into rocksteady, you know. So we always, that was our dream. We want to be great, have great intention. We want to be like the greatest, you know. And that's where it started, really, you know. And then we were both living on compound in Waterhouse, a place in compound. Jimmy Riley was also there, too, you know. And I was a man with a guitar, you know, the coach like. So I used to come with my guitar. When his mom saw me coming, she smiled. We used to practice under a little mango tree, you know. Sometimes the mango drop and lick the peel. Because I used to play Sister Peel's drum, you know. Trust me, you know. And I used to have the guitar. There's a friend of ours, we call him Johnny Pretty, he had a tape recorder. So whenever we do a little thing, we always tape it. When you listen back, we say, and this sound real, man, you know? And then I would come visit there like maybe 3, 4 times in the week, and we'll practice a little thing and thing and thing. And then it's like get serious now, man. And said, no, man, this sound like real drum, man. Remember, you know, Sister Peel, Pan and Peel, in my drum, you know? But this brother was really so innovative, man, I tell you. From day one, we could have seen the potential and hear it, you know? And then Answer Collins now, we don't want to leave him out, you know. He was a man
Yeah.
who the first musician who really started to produce and record their own stuff, you know. And it inspired us because we said, this is where it started. So and so recorded a song called. We used to play in a band named Machine Pin. There's so many things to talk about where we're not going to have the time for that. But I'm trying to do it as quickly as possible. You know, it's like we used to play in a band. There was a band called RH Invincibles. This Rasta man, them call him Father, but him look like Selassie. He's a Rasta, him have beard, but him don't. So he created a community center down there with instrument and thing. And I say, yes, this is good. And, you know, that helps us. So we form a band called RH Team Principle, and then Nancy Collins was the keyboard player. Myself was the guitarist at the time. And what is it? Another guy was playing. I don't remember his name. But however, we recorded a song called Double Barrel, Answer producer. And believe me, you know, the song became a big song on Billboard, #1 on British chart, and you know something? You see, when that happened, me and Slime say, you know, so we have a musical future now. Because guess what? We are just teenagers, and that was a driving force behind the whole thing, you know, because we never look back, you know. But it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. This guy became such a great musician, a great person, a great drummer. He's one of the most creative drummer that ever came out of Jamaica. So I look at him as one of the greatest drummer worldwide. You
Yeah,
know,
give
because
thanks.
Sly play something that I mean, when we get together, man, it's like magic.
Amazing.
I have
Amazing.
a little story, a little short story. When we were recording the tune called "How Could I Leave," there was a drummer there in the studio. Sly wasn't there at the time, and it was recorded with the drummer with the bass and another drummer and thing, and we feel like the tune needed something. And Sly came in the day and put on the drum and how could I leave? And believe me, when you play it back, I can just listen. So I would say Sly was so great, creative,
This is D
and
Brown's How Could I Leave?
yeah, how
Yes.
could I leave? Mhm. But Dean can tell us about how great Sly is, to man. Because we're
Yeah.
all I don't want to take up all of the time. Because we're going to need a lot of time to tell you everything about Sly. But he was one of the humblest persons. I've never seen Sly Dunbar vex or
Yeah.
upset about anything. And if anybody criticized him, say, well, leave them to God, man. He was just, if there's heaven, he will be there in Zion, man. Trust me.
Man, give thanks. Give thanks, Lloydie. Lloydie, me still want you to spin your phone. Rory's back. And just turn the phone the other way, like how my phone is this way. This is how I want you to turn it. Rory, when I listened to Dean, when I just know Lloydie, you would have met Sly way later in life, clearly. But when you're in the studio with him, tell us a little bit about his professional ethics in a production space. What is he like?
Well, first, nothing about it, right? He's jovial about everything. So even a mistake becomes a creative move. Um, he's always focused, always thinking about the groove. So in the
Well, I'm not
production,
hearing anything,
every
man.
detail
I'm talking,
matter.
I'm not hearing.
The lady can tell you
But them
if
shut.
he interfere with the drums. So if he's playing the drum and him hear a bass groove or hear playing something out of that bass groove and even the low kick drum, he will tell you cut out that note or play it another way because we need that space. Um,
Mhm.
he's always and he full up the track. That's what I like about him. He he thinks of every single detail and element that can make the music groove, right? So if there's not a piano, Sly's going to find something to put in that spot as a drummer to make it groove where you don't even realize there's no piano on the track. Um, he's always on time for his drum sessions, especially his live drums. He's always motivating, right? So he'll motivate you. Yeah, man. Just do it, man. It's music. Anything goes. You turn the delay and it sound weird to you. Lower it all right. Anything goes. The world not going to know. So he give you the space to create, to be creative. And every musician who come around Sly just give them the free space to express themselves. Mr.
Mhm.
Fraser come and he have an idea for a song and he say, call Dean, Dean have to come play this. And when Dean come, he not even remember my idea because when Dean start to play, it's like that he didn't want it better than my idea. So he give you the room to be creative as an engineer, as a producer, as a vocalist, as a musician. He just give you the room to express yourself. So yeah.
Give thanks. Dean, going back to you. I actually need to talk to Dean because I want to know some of what the works that you've worked on collaboratively. But I kind of wanted to talk about some of the albums. You mentioned D Brown. We're just coming out of D Brown's Earth Strong celebrations. Were you working on those tracks at the same time? And give us an idea of what studio sessions were like, and we'll go over to Lydie after.
Well, there were many studio sessions. One that stood out may have been that session in 82, 83, where we did the Jimmy Riley song, Baltimore. I did Junior Delgado, Tamlins. That day we started with an instrumental. All of those songs I remember were recorded on one day. Clive Hunt was the horn producer at the time, and we really did some incredible work that particular day. And
Mhm.
also, as I said, after doing all those songs that became number one songs, all of them, going through the little gate at Channel One, Sly called me back and said, "Yo, come, me have this song, yeah." And that we created, that the taxi was created there. But my my real the session that stands out overall was when I was doing that anthem album, that Black Uhuru anthem album at Dynamic Sounds. That was like one of the greatest sessions I have ever been on. You know, the rhythms were just incredible. What Sly and Robbie did was just incredible. And then when I got to the studios and I heard what was happening on the track, I think that the on players, myself, Namba Robinson, Chico Chin, David Madden, I think that we just got into this groove. It's like we get into a days, but a good days, where we just play some fantastic horn parts. And at the end of that session, nobody wanted to leave the studio. We would just sit there and just keep listening and listening. And then, when you know, say Slide, please, him just dip on the little corner with this little funny smile. And him just a shake him head, So we know, said the songs were ready. You understand? So
Mhm.
those are two of like my main recordings with Slide that I will never forget.
Man, give thanks. Lloyd, are you hearing us now?
Yeah, man, nice and clear.
Oh, very good. I'd love for you to share a little bit about your own collab before we move into the next section.
Tell you, you hear me? Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you clearly.
Yeah, all right. At first, in 1970, I did a song called Officially. Sly wasn't the drummer. That was my biggest and number one song. And then when I went to jug it and, we do a business and we were re-record officially again. So the song It Again with a different feel. I'm not telling you, say, it's like when I said, wait, I said we should have do it first. But however, it twice, you know? Now, as I said, we used to play rhythm for each other, and it's Ansel Collins start that. But that is even inspired that you have even Sly and Rabbit doing rhythm thing together, That's where it started. So we went in the studio and we do a song, a rhythm, three chord rhythm. Because most of the time we just make rhythm and put lyrics to it. So while we were listening, Channel One that shut down too. We were listening to the song, and we did have on a dark glasses. So when a Sly friend said, "Lady, you look like a mafia," And I said, "Mafia?" And we just come up with a song, say, "Me, a mafia." This is one of my biggest song in Europe now, in Brazil, and all of them, these places. But when you listen, Sly really lick the drum or clap it. I mean, trust me, I'm speechless. But
Yeah.
the groove, fantastic groove. The song with that after it. You understand me?
Yeah.
And it's not because of the bass. It's the way the drummer play and the drum and bass together. You know? And but them singing really play in Jamaica still. One or two people know it still. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of the memorable I always talk about it when I'm on stage, like doing Brazil or Europe. How it was done, how it came to us, how it was made. But it's like, oh, I miss you bad. I miss you bad. I ball already, so I'm not for ball again, But I miss you bad.
That is such a Jamaican expression. Me ball
No,
already,
because
me not go back. Me not ball again.
most men afraid for ball, But me did ball. Cause a George Bank called me and tell me the Amsterdam, and I just ball. And he said, lie there, ball. If I tell him, lie there. Yeah, I'm never afraid for ball, cause I feel it, But that's why we keep strong and we're just gonna celebrate his life as best as possible.
Yeah, man, give
Yeah.
So
thanks.
true.
And
Mm.
I like that you take us there very comfortably, Lloydie, because you are correct. Even some of us women are uncomfortable with being vulnerable in front of people.
Right.
So we don't talk about it. We go back to the good memories. And I want to talk
Yeah.
about how we grieve. And we've lost a lot of ones in the music industry. I want to talk about Robbie a little bit as well, and how that duo started and what that was like for you when when they came together in what 1980. But for both of you, Dean and Lloydie, Dean are the unofficial funeral papa, me call him, you know.
Hold on, hold on.
Me
Can
say,
take a minute.
so Lady,
Can take a
no,
minute.
me call Dean the unofficial funeral pooper. Somebody drop out in the industry. Dean I go arrange
Dean is
everything.
here. Dean is
Um,
always here.
but I want us to, as people
Voluntarily.
Yeah.
voluntarily grapple with loss, as we grapple with loss and we grieve. How do you really grieve somebody? Do we grieve someone whose work is still around us? What are we doing? Do we grieve? Are we celebrating? I want to know how music really make death feel different as musicians. It doesn't make it any different for you?
Me personally celebrate it. Cause me can't see the man dead with this kind of music when him leave behind. You understand what I say? And that is where I put my energy. You know, we all are gonna die. And so we can't dwell upon that. Seeing what we must really dwell upon is where we leave behind, for other
Mm-hmm.
people love it and cherish it and tend to it all the time. So right now, Charlie, as me call him, most people call him Sly, some call him Lowell, I think. Dean Fraser call him Charlie. See, so when him call, I used to say Charles in charge, you know, and he would have just laugh about that. So what Charlie do for this music, the different grooves that he took the music through. Right now, a university thing that all of the youth them supposed to go to university, go try study that. You understand me?
Yeah.
So
True that.
we not think about, you know, him ascension right now. Me I think about where Charlie Dunbar leave behind.
Give thanks. Give thanks, Dean.
Yeah.
It's interesting because one of the things Sly has always been interested in music education. Sly would sometimes give me a ring and say, Coleen, me have some drumsticks. Make it you want to get some drum or some sticks. He wanted to know what was being taught at all times when I was at Edna Manley College, curious about school and music. So I think it's a really important point you've made about people learning. And even as you spoke about the way that Sly sat around the drum, Dean, I find that very, very interesting. Down looking up, almost like the drum is an altar for him. And what it tells you is how much someone's putting, well, this is my own idea, interpretation. But for me, looking up at it feels like an altar, seeing him giving all of himself into in the drum and into the sound that's giving. It was not about him, but the music that he was producing. Um, if Sly were in the room right now, Rory, what would you say to him? Or what would you thank him for?
Wow. For the opportunity to be around him and Robbie, the opportunity to know Dean Fraser and all the great people who really are the stalwarts of this music. The opportunity to allow me to express myself as an engineer, to learn the way I learned, and just for the knowledge that he has passed on to me really. Um, I never get the chance to tell him that I love him in those sense, but just to know that I have this wealth of knowledge at this young age, and I am able to to pass it on to generations to come due to how young I am. Even though you're young and still can go, but just to know these people, I'm grateful. That is actually what I would actually say to you.
Before I go over
Yeah,
to
I'm
to
a little
to
bit
to
I'm a little bit emotional because there's a lot to say.
it's okay. We all
Right?
are.
There's a lot to
Um, what do you think he would have said to you in this moment?
say. Well, I've been hearing him say it all week, so I can. Well, one of the things he said to me on Friday was, "Finish the work we start. Finish the work where you start." And it was because I put out a title, Rorey Baker Dedication. He knows right name Dedication. On Friday, when we spoke, he said, Sabeka, just focus and finish the work where you start. I am understanding what that means now. So that is
Mhm.
the last thing he said to me. Without really saying that. You always say, mix it tough. No matter where you just mix it tough. It's your sound. Don't watch nobody's sound. Just mix it your way. How you hear it, mix it. And me will tell you what's wrong with it. But make it tough. Just make it tough all the time. You know.
Give thanks. I think that's Sly's generosity of spirit in always giving everybody a chance to express themselves. Dean, Lydie talk longer than you, so may I come to you first, then go to Lydie. If Sly were
Yeah.
in the room right now, where'd I say to him?
Why that kind of little bit difficult in the sense that would I'd prefer say to him, but this is my brethren, one of my brethrens for life, and I would thank him for handing me over to the music world, as one of the individuals that batted for me. I mean, Lydie there too, Lydie was one of the man them also, even though Sly was the aggressor. But Lydie was one of the man them where you used to say, yep, I'm Tono, now make Dean Fraser play. You understand? But I would really just love to really thank Sly Dunbar for helping to create a Dean Fraser who, you know, who is a cornerstone in the music business right now. And I can tell you for sure, Charlie was one of those individuals that was very aggressive and make enough noise so that I could start to play on records, which was my intention all along. So he made my dream.
Give thanks. How about you, Lydie? What would you say to your longtime brethren of 55 years?
Right. Right. Um, I just, it's like, it was like a scientist, like a magician, yeah, man, in terms of music and thing. And, although I was the one who really turned him into a studio musician, really, but he's enhanced my career as well. Because I'm saying, when you're talking about drum and bass and when we get together, it's like miracle. Um,
Mhm.
I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of speechless. I kind of get emotional right now still, but
That's okay.
it was just
All right.
great, great, full of greatness. You understand me?
All right.
And personality was great, everything. So it comes out in our music. And if
Yeah.
what you saw Dean Fraser play, right? Because I can tell you, say, in clean and I'm art. I know that. Because I've been in the music industry and I see how people function, I see how them end up and all of that. And yeah, more life for staying, more life until the time come. But again, Sly was fantastic, great, and very innovative.
Yeah.
And kind of speechless. But listen, greatness, full of greatness, and you know, create a lot of stuff that nobody, no other drummer did. Transform the music into greatness, different sound, different everything. And as I say, original teacher, original teacher, because every drummer now have to listen to the work that he has done. Whether they want to listen or not, or want, they have to do it because I don't hear anything. I'm not discrediting any drummers, but I don't hear anybody come and creating anything different from what Sly has done. And I salute you, Sly. Robbie, great bass player too. Time same always come listen to me. That's why me and him have a good thing, me and Robbie. We're nice because him always come and talk to me and tell me things and what he learned from me and thing and thing and thing. I mean, me not really a brag, but Robbie tell me a lot of stuff that makes me feel good and love him as a musician. Because a lot of musicians don't talk about certain things. You know what I'm saying? So Sly and Robbie, Sly and Robbie, greatness, two great people.
Give thanks, Sam Lloyd. And I think it's a beautiful segue into just talking about Sly and Robbie as we shift a little from just Sly to the duo.
Yeah.
Dean, where were you at that time when that duo was formed? What you
I was in a
recover?
I was in a band called Lloyd Parks and We the People. and and I I I I knew what was happening at that time in the music. You know, the 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 Bob Marley thing was just blowing up. The Peter Tosh thing now came to fore also, and that's where Sly and Robbie was. And anything they did at that time just seemed exceptionally different. It was different. The drum and bass was playing different. There were all these new sounds that that Sly had created using the syndrome, and he started to make so many different sounds which he added after laying the basic drum track. He would add all these new sounds. So innovation, the thing was just wide open. The music was just wide open, and you could not walk into any studio and not saying Sly and Robbie at that period, because everything was changing, right?
Yeah,
So when these two got together, it was a turning point of our music for the best. Not even better, but for the best. All these things were happening, these incredible things that Sly was, you know, doing, that not sit around and not see it and applaud it and try to do same.
man, give thanks. Rory, Sly and Robbie. Was
Oh,
Robbie
wow.
lurking in the background?
No, actually, for me, the first acceptance was Robbie before Sly, because Sly used to just say, "Yeah, man, in the year," but Robbie would say, "What you learn? Turn on my bass, record my bass." No other engineer could record his bass. I'm recording his bass before I really knew what it was actually. Um, it was it was during the Shaka Demos and Kaya's second album for Ireland. That was probably 6, 7 months into my internship that Sly accepted me, because one day I set up the drums for this particular song and he was recording and the balance was so good. He was like, "Well, you learn to balance the board like that?" And I said, "I don't know. We just balance based on what I hear in the clubs, because them time I'm a party guy. So I balance to what I hear." And he was like, but you understand why you balance like that. And from that day, he was always make Rory balance the drums, make Rory balance the drums. Whenever we're recording, make Rory balance the drums. Rory balance just different, it just flat and nice, you know. So for me, for me, the two of them together is oil and water, but in a good way. Because one is a drum czar, one is a bass czar, one is a czar. I mean, they focus on their individual instrument, but in the meantime, they look at the collaboration and how we can, how it make things better. So I was more on the cutting edge of the dance. Robbie wasn't on the cutting edge of the dance. You know, so I was like, listen, I start play the bass less because the dance hall, and because of that, Robbie was into the dance hall take lead. So most of the taxi dance hall songs become drum orientated, which really, really changed the whole thing of the music for my generation. You know, growing up, I would hear the dance hall with the drum and the bass and the piano, but when it's like come, it was just the drums. You see? So in the 90s, for me, when I met them, it was like this is something new. When I hear the rhythms, I've never heard nothing like this, and all of this was drums, you know. So he revolutionized the dance for me. I mean, we have to give credit to some of the greats that was there before in Steely and Clive Big Up, but Sly revolutionized the drumming in dance. Take it to a whole new level. It's just the drum. All tracks is just drums and vocals. You know, so I I I commend him for that. You know, it's amazing.
Amen. Give thanks. Give thanks, Lord. I know you started us off with the Robbie insertion, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the door, how that came to be for you.
Well, it started, like I said before, we as musicians used to play for each other.
If that is
We,
Lloyd's phone, we're gonna it was that you,
yeah,
Rory, or was it Lloydie?
One
it was my
second.
phone. I guess. Yeah, we used to do rhythm for each other and thing. And so, and then Sly and Robbie just started the thing, and it worked for them. And I think it was one of the greatest combinations. This was like destiny. We started together, but it switched. It's so much to say. Um, but it was meant to be that way. Because sometimes you're Sly that well, we start together, but it have to be Sly and Robbie. You know, created this great developing this great reggae music into something else. It's still called reggae, but trust me, it's beyond that, man. This is just great music, you know, great music. So I am happy that this was created in terms of I'm saying Sly and Robbie. I am happy for that, and I am happy for both of them. Even though Brethren same and we play in studio together same way, but the Sly and Robbie thing was great for us, for everyone, and for the world. So I give thanks. And as I say, Robbie was one of my favorite bass players. I have to commend him because we're all foundational musicians. And we're cornerstone. So when I'm strong, I am strong, and when I'm strong, he's strong. Because it's all about sustaining and the reggae music. It's all about music and love for each other. So for me personally, both guys, my friends, will be sadly missed by me, and I know the world. So I'd say rest in peace, my brethren, Sly. Lifetime love for love, love everlasting.
Give thanks so much for that, Lloydie. We just came out of Grammy Awards. Congratulations to Kesnambi for his Grammy win this year. Um, Sly Dunbar was a 13 time, at least 13-time Grammy nominee. He received two Grammy Awards, 1985 for Best Reggae Recording for the Black Uhuru album Anthem. I think you referred to that, Dean. Both he and Robbie were producers. And then again, 1999, Best Reggae Album, for the album. Which one was that? Friends. So and we could go into all of that, but I know it's easy to Google or something right now, or go to Wiki, or go into any of the AI platforms and learn that. But just wanted to share that bit about our great friend Sly. We have to give him great now, because he gives everybody great. Everybody gets great from Sly.
Sure,
Some people
sure,
play
Sly.
music. I was saying some people play music, some people change music, and some people become a part of the language of music itself. And I think that's what we've been hearing as we speak about Sly Dunbar, the man who a lot of us have come to know, a brethren, as a musician, and someone we've given to the world. Um, when we talk about, and this is probably not just about Sly, but generally about music and for all of you in the industry, how do you feel right now about, as architects of the music industry, do you think that we're giving enough to our youths in terms of a history, for them to understand where it's coming from and the ones who made it? How would we, if not, then how can we change that? May I start with Dean, the teacher?
Um, that's a nice question, but I think that a lot of the young musicians, them kind of know I hear where they gone because of which part them head there right now. But I definitely will say it is our duty to pass on everything to them youngster. Yeah. You know, it's just if we can just get them to pay attention. You understand me? And the ones who do will be just as great. You understand me? So as I said before, I know my intention. I know I will try and pass on everything that I have learned and hope that these youngsters will just grasp it and continue the journey. Me know say a man like Lloyd Parks, him talk to them every day, him show them different things every day. You know, um, if we don't do this, with music will fall down, and we don't want that. So it is our duty again, for sure, to help to transform and transfer the music to these younger musicians.
Man, give thanks. When you mention that and our duty, I think of Derek Stewart, Stewie. Um,
Yes.
and Stewie's own work at School of Music, Edna College. And sometimes we forget the teachers. But I
Yes.
remember when Hector got a role in the One Love movie, and he came to Jamaica as part of their tour. And he walks in, and I said, "Where you go?" And he said, "Me go look for my teacher." And he walks in and he says to Stewie, "Sorry, when you're in here and some of the things and when you tell me I feel out there, tell them. Says art." So I don't give up on young people. I think those who want to learn, they are going to learn. And I
Yes,
think
and
as soon as go
yes,
ahead,
and
Dean.
you are so right. I must also big up Stewie as one of my teachers because in the Sonny Bradshaw 7 band at 16 and 17 years of age, Stewie also was one of those persons who helped to shape my musical way of thinking.
All right, give thanks. Rory, is there anything you think we could do differently in terms of educating young people, especially young musicians?
We need more creative space for them to explore. The space is not enough. I remember growing up on here, Dean Number talk about Alpha Academy. I know Alpha is still active. I am exposed to School of Music is still active, but we need more spaces for those creatives, and we have to start at a younger age. I think What is happening now is we're not teaching music in primary school at that level to high school for the children to more more assertive. I know Pembroke have a good program, Pembroke Secondary, and they're producing some good musicians from that school. But if we can get more
Mhm.
of the music to be incorporated in school as not just as a curriculum but as a subject, not just for grade 3 and 4 and 5, and then by you reach the grade 6
Mhm.
coming up forgotten until they reach university, they say they want to be a musician. Right? We need to in a space where
Mhm.
we can direct children to be musicians, not oh I want to be a musician, I'm born for the music and all them things. On the technical part, we are not doing good as an industry, nowhere close to good. Meaning we're not developing new so right. We are not developing new engineers. So there is not a studio space where engineers
Mm.
can go to learn. Like when I was I had access to the mixing lab to all these studios. It don't exist anymore. Right? So everybody have a laptop at home and they're doing the YouTube, and the YouTube is not the way, right? It is the way to be introduced to, but it's not the way to get the knowledge of how it is actually done. So I know you have places, you have Computer Paul, have a program out there that he teaches production at a good level. If we can get more of that, it's not just players of instruments, it's also the technical side of it. So it's not just
Yeah.
singers and players of instruments. There's a technical side of it, which is very important, which is one of the most important things to carry our music forward right now. And we need to develop that. Right. I hope to see Edna Male have an engineering school down there,
Give
not just a
thanks.
school of music, school of dance, school of art, but also school of engineering is needed.
Well, it's interesting, and Dean, I don't believe that we have, and Lloydie, that we have enough in this space to necessarily want to compete with ourselves. So I think that one
Mhm.
should do what ones do. I think we have UE that exists in a kind of research philosophical space. We have Edna School of Music that is practical teaching musicians and singers and so forth. And then you have UTech that is the technology school. And why can't we get some investment in the engineering technologies in that space? So I do agree with you, and I think it's important. Like we are here to what is our responsibility? What can we really do? Because when we're in primary school, we learn the recorder, Dean. Everyone is
That's
asked
right.
to buy a recorder from
Yes.
grade one, and you have it for
Right.
a little bit.
Right.
But you really don't get a chance to do much recorder. Your recorder new when you're leaving primary school.
Yeah, you just fling
So
with the
when
record, huh?
students and I can there's a drummer and I move on. What's his name? Kenil. I don't remember his surname. Kenil, and he was playing drums for Buju. You know
Yes, he
that one,
is.
and
Yes.
he's kind
Yeah,
of
man.
aggressive on the drums.
Yeah, man. Super youth
So
too.
when Kenil was at yeah, man. When he was at School of Music, I said to him, "Why did you choose Edna?" And you know what his response was? He said, "Miss, me no really know, you know. Me can't talk patois." I said, "Sure." Him said, "Well, me didn't know say me go basic school, primary school, high school, then Edna. Because on go Edna one me didn't know about when me can come learn music." And I thought it was telling that he knew where he could go in the end. But if he didn't have the church, he would have had no practice at all because our
Right.
children
Practice
can't
that.
really afford to pay for music. So consciously do it. Something we probably have to get together as people in industry and see how best we could actually influence some policy and investment in that area when we talk. So, cause we're asking young people for a lot, but what are we really giving them? But we give thanks for
Yeah.
coming off the platform like a preaching to go back as we wrap back to Sly Dunbar, not just a drummer for all of us in here, but a kind of Sly definitely has a global identity. And so I just wanted as we leave now to just what do you think is Sly's biggest impact on music industry and on the world? I'm going to start with you, Lloydie.
Well, if you notice, a lot of big international artists, call upon Sly to do sessions. Bob Dylan, all different. I don't remember some of the name, but some of the greatest. So that
Yeah.
shows that he had an incredible impact on the world, you know, and he's just full of greatness, and I think he has impacted the world worldwide with his talent, and creativity.
Give thanks. How about you, Dean?
Well, it just goes to show a little man from down a compound in a little island where you can't even sip on the map has created some of the greatest music on earth. And all these little changes and development in the music, because I know things we not talk about yet, because we don't really talk about the electrical part of Sly, where him adapt that part and then put it in our reggae music. So we just have to know, we just have to break it down to a lie. They said greatness. This little man from basically nowhere and him impact on the world internationally. You understand me? Every corner of earth. No Sly Dunbar. And who don't know, still I gonna know.
They will
Peace upon the
still know.
legacy.
I actually wanted, yeah, I wanted to ask when Rory did mention something. He didn't go into the electrical part in any detail, but I did find that interesting. The strange instruments to which you refer. But you want us to share a little bit about that? Is it what has it done for the music and what does it say about Sly as he experiments?
Well, I would say quickly, the era of the syndrome, the D drum, the roller toms, all of that. Sly did not just play these instruments, He introduced a new sound, a new everything to the world every time a piece of this instrument appear. You understand me? So when Sly started to play electric drums and the Roland drums, where him favorite word, him call it the pan drum them. See, that was another turn in the music. And everybody was cramming to get a piece of that sound.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
What does it do? I mean, I'm not a musician. I'm very curious about the integrating the electronic drums in it. What does it do to the sound for those who are listening who are not into music?
Well, for one, let's take the syndrome. Outside of Anita Ward, that was Ring My Bell, and I think the Bash. This syndrome wasn't anything like big in America, It didn't make much changes. It just came and went. You understand me? So when Gwen sang Love Don't Live Here Anymore, and they had this like a tung 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 scene in that song. After that, you didn't have much. It didn't catch on as far as I am concerned. But you see, in our music, how Sly Dunbar applied this drum to our music, it changed the whole face of the music at one time. So we just have to understand that. That's how creative and
Yeah.
innovative that this brethren was.
Mm.
Give thanks, Dean. So it was, I think we can say that there was no fear of technology, and he took technology and gave it a soul. As
Yes,
an
yeah.
engineer, Rory, how was that for you?
Well,
Sorry, Dean, you were saying something?
No, I was just adding that is not a man where did go. A you take I want them places, neither go learn nothing about no computer. So we have to know that Charlie teach
and,
himself all of this.
and there was no YouTube either for
Nice,
me to
yeah.
And
learn
no
it from.
YouTube neither.
Well, for me, when I entered the business, there was still the acoustic drumming. I didn't get much of that in my early years with Sly and Robbie. What I got was the electronic drumming, from the sing drum to the drum pad and to the
Right,
drum machine.
right,
What it did for me, um, being around them and start to understand the live aspect of it, the live recording, was I realized we could do more with the electronic drums. Sly played the machine like he's playing the actual drum kit, right? But in terms of the fusion of, let's say, a kick drum, Sly 9 kick drum in our song. The 9 kick drum is 9 different frequencies, and is not the drum machine kick drum, is his live kick drum kit. He sampled, and when he sampled it and him sit down and say, "I'm gonna turn it into a four, well, talking engineer language, I want some 4K, I need to make it be the top on the kick drum, and I want some
right,
low mids, I need to make it poof of the kick drum, and I want some high mid, I need to make it with the body of the kick drum, and he put all that 9 kick drum together. It sound like one, and it have the power that the acoustic drum could not give us. And then
Right.
he would play with the hi-hats. So he's playing
Wow.
6 hi-hat and one song, and a delay hi-hat going. So in use the technology where every other musician who I have worked with who use the electronic drum, them just do it regular. One kick, one snare, one hi-hat. Sly the multiple of things. Sly is now the percussionist, playing the percussion on his pad. Right? The only thing he couldn't play was the bass and the horns and just the piano. He couldn't play them because he didn't have the soul, but he had a way where he incorporated the technology as it changes with the acoustic sounds. And I remember at one situation we were recording a particular song, and like it clean, it too clean, and I'm saying, what am I going to do to get it dirty? And he say, you know what? Bring up the sing drum. Go back with the old sing drum, the original one, because it have a little static on it, what it like. And when he put it in the
right.
record,
Dirt. It have the dirt.
And
Mhm.
yeah, and it wow. So you learn all these things. So he was creative, more than creative. I don't know, because Sly have me reading. Sometimes I thought I knew the, and Sly said, "Oh my God, we can't use the word we use. You know, Mr. Fraser, I was saying what's word there. It can't go somewhere." I go call Akai, I kind of realize that mistake the drum machine. The drum machine only have 6 output, and then needs to be, and it's going to call the company, and the company is going to revamp that drum machine and send him a sample. You know, so he was more, he's an architect and inventor. You know,
I-
because architect.
Isaac Newton of reggae, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, trust me.
As oh, give thanks. Give thanks. Lloydie,
Say
any closing
all.
thoughts?
Yeah, I want to say to the younger musicians, practice the instrument every day and listen and
Mhm.
learn. Be willing to learn, and you will learn and you'll achieve a lot because you can't do it yourself alone. Because even me, I'm still learning because I'm willing to listen and learn. So I would encourage all young musicians to listen and learn. And and Sly Dunbar is a great example because even while we're recording, so what do you think about this, Sly? What do you think about this, Dean? So he's still, even in the last latter part, he's still willing to learn and he's still learning. That's why he's so creative. So creativity, it comes from
Mhm.
different angles. You have to be willing to learn and listen.
Yeah.
And as I said, I would encourage all young musicians to practice every day and listen and
Give
learn.
thanks, Lloydie. I just want to share with our viewers that we celebrate Sly's life in numerous ways. In the Caribbean, one of our retentions from Africa is the nine-night culture. So we do a nine-night. By the time you're seeing the show, would have had a nine-night on Tuesday, February 2. Rory, can you remind me of the funeral service is actually February 28th, and we will share those details in the chat so that one can see it and be a part of our celebration of his life. So history made Sly as one of the world's greatest drummer. In Jamaica, his contribution to culture, we are going to remember him for much more than that. We see him as an architect of modern rhythms. Um, he's sometimes, we can call him, like many of our musicians, a bridge for Jamaica to the world. But what it is, a standard of excellence in the global music industry. That's why he's worked with so many people. We spoke about the analog, we moved to digital, we moved to all of the sounds that he would have made, and the kind of the energy of giving back that he carries in his music. So we give thanks for Sly Dunbar. We give thanks for these wonderful brethren who shared with us today. Mr. Dean Fraser,
Give
you
thanks.
should hear Dean play. Um, if you haven't, please check out all his platforms and get some of that. Rorey Baker, Mr. One Pop Music, and Taxi Records. Thank you so much. I know it's heavy emotions at this time, but we wanted to do this anyway for Sly. Lloyd Parks, we thank you for your time. Anybody who know Lloyd knows him hard to find unless I music brethren them who get him easy. But thank you for showing up and for spending some good time with us. So yes, thank you. Thank you for tuning in to another Lounge Lyme. I'm Coleen, and it has been my pleasure as we reflect on the life and the works of Sly Dunbar, extraordinary drummer of the duo Sly and Robbie. Give thanks.